In this video, we're building a modern hero image slider using HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. First, let's take a look at the final result. This slider features smooth transitions, animated content, and a progress bar that counts down to the next slide. You'll also learn how to add next and previous controls, infinite looping, and autoplay that switches slides every 5 seconds. By the end of this tutorial, you'll have a fully responsive image slider that looks great on desktops, tablets, and mobile devices, and you'll understand how to customize it for your own projects. Let's get started. First, create an images folder and add all of your images to it. Then, create the project files in the same folder and connect style.css for the main styles, responsive.css for the responsive styles, and script.js for the JavaScript. I've already added the navbar, so let's jump right into building the slider. Start by creating the main slider container and adding the first slide. Each slide will be inside a slide div. Inside that, add a slide BG div for the background image, followed by a slide overlay div. The overlay adds a dark layer over the image, making the content easier to read. Next, let's add the slide content. Start with a small CSS snippets label, followed by the main title, Design Slider. Then add a slide name heading for the name of the current slide, followed by a short description. Finally, add 2 buttons, Read More and Subscribe. For the hero image, we'll use the background image property inside the inline style attribute. This makes it easy to give each slide its own unique background image. And that's the basic structure of our first slide. Since the navbar styles are already in style.css, let's move on and start styling the slider. You can see the content on the screen, so let's start styling the slider. First, we'll style the slider container with position relative, make it fill the viewport using 100 VW and 100 DVH, and hide anything outside the slider. Next, we'll style the slide with position absolute and inset 0, along with a smooth opacity transition and pointer events none, so inactive slides don't interfere with interaction. Now let's style the hero image using slide BG. We'll position it across the entire slide and use background size cover and background position center, then add a slight scale effect and a 6-second transition for a subtle zoom effect. To make it look even better, we'll use the filter property adjust the brightness, saturation, and contrast, which gives the image a more polished look. Next, let's style the slide content. We'll position slide content near the bottom left, set a maximum width, use Z-index to keep the content above the slider, and add a right padding. As you can see, the content is now positioned nicely at the bottom of the slider. Inside the content, we'll use CSS nesting to style the slide label. We'll set the font, make the text uppercase, increase the letter spacing, add a subtle text color, and set a bottom margin. We'll also add a transition that we'll use later for the animations. Now the label has a clean, modern look. Next, let's style the main title. We'll use a different font family and a responsive font size with the clamp function, then add the line height, letter spacing, opacity, and transform, translate Y 25 pixels. Now the title looks much bolder and more eye-catching. We'll apply similar styles to the slide name, but give it a different color and transition timing so it stands out. We're also using different transition delays to the title so the elements can animate one after another later. At this point, you may notice that there's too much space between the title and slide name, making the layout look a little awkward. To fix that, let's comment on the Translate Y transform for now. And there we go, the spacing looks much cleaner. Next, we'll style the description with a serif font, some top margin, a responsive font size, comfortable line height, letter spacing, a softer text color, and a lighter font weight. We'll also add a smooth transition. Now the content looks clean and easy to read. You'll notice we're using transition on several elements. We'll use these properties later to create the slide animations, so keep watching. Finally, let's style the buttons. The Slide BTNs container uses Flexbox to place the buttons side by side with a small gap. We'll also allow them to wrap on smaller screens, add some top margin, and include a transition. For the BTN, we'll add padding, set the font and letter spacing, make the text uppercase, and add a subtle border with a transparent background. We'll also set the text color to white, change the cursor to a pointer, and add a smooth hover transition. Now the buttons look great. Let's finish them with the hover effects. For the Read More button, we'll use a white background with black text on hover. For the Subscribe button, we'll use a lighter border and text color, along with a subtle hover effect to make it feel more interactive. You may notice the hover effect isn't working right now. That's because we set pointer events None on the slide. Since we want the active slide to be interactive, let's set pointer events All on it. Now the buttons work as expected. One last thing, let's make sure the content stands out clearly against the hero image. We'll style the slide overlay with position absolute and inset 0, then add a dark gradient over the image. This improves the text contrast while keeping the hero image visible. And that's it for the basic slider styling. Next, we'll move on to the slider controls and functionality. First, create an arrows container with previous and next buttons, each using a simple SVG arrow icon. Then add the counter to display the current slide number and the total number of slides. Finally, create the dot pills navigation, where each pill represents a slide and the active pill shows the current slide. Now let's style the controls. We'll position the arrows near the bottom left, use Flexbox to align the buttons, add a small gap, and use Z-index to keep them above the slider. For the arrow buttons, we'll create circular buttons with a subtle border, transparent background, and glass-like blur effect. Set the cursor to pointer. We'll center the icons both horizontally and vertically, and add a smooth transition. Next, we'll style the SVG icons with a consistent size, no fill, a white stroke, and rounded line caps and joins. And there we go. The previous and next buttons already look clean and modern. Now let's add a hover effect that slightly brightens the background and scales the buttons up, giving them a more interactive feel. Next, we'll style the counter next to the arrows and position it at the bottom left. We'll add the font, letter spacing, color, and use Flexbox with a small gap to align the elements, along with Z-index to keep it above the slider. We'll make the current slide number larger, bolder, and white so it stands out, then add a simple separator line between the current and total slide numbers. The current slide number will be larger and brighter so it stands out. Finally, we'll position the dot pills at the bottom center of the slider and use Flexbox to align them with a small gap. For each pill, we'll set its size, give it a rounded shape, add a subtle background, and make it clickable. We'll also add a smooth transition for the active state. Now you can see the pill indicators are in place. Next, we'll set the first slide as active so it appears when the page loads. Now let's style the active pill. We'll make it wider, change its background to the accent color, and use position relative with overflow hidden to create the timer animation. We'll use the after pseudo element as a progress overlay. It starts at 0% width and expands to 100% using the pill timer animation. Finally, we'll define the @keyframes animation to run for 5 seconds, matching the autoplay timing. Now you can see the pill animation working. We'll also add a hover effect to slightly brighten the inactive pills. Next, let's duplicate the first slide and update the content and images for the remaining slides. Now let's style the active slide. When a slide becomes active, we'll set its opacity to 1 and enable pointer events so its buttons are interactive. We'll also reset the background scale to 1 for a smooth zoom effect. Next, we'll reveal the slide content by setting its opacity to 1 and moving it back to its original position with Translate Y 0. This creates a smooth fade and slide animation whenever the slide changes. At this point, the active slide is showing. but the other slides are still visible. To fix that, we'll set the default slide opacity to 0 and disable pointer events, keeping inactive slides hidden and non-interactive. Finally, we'll set the initial state for the slide content. We'll hide the slide label, slide desk, and slide BTNs with opacity 0 and move them slightly down using Translate Y 18 pixels. We'll do the same for the slide title and slide name. And that's it. The active state animation is ready. Next, let's bring the slider to life with JavaScript. Our JavaScript has 3 main jobs: control the slider, handle user interactions, and automatically move to the next slide. First, we'll select the slides and pill indicators using Query Selector All, then get the current slide counter with getElementById. We'll set the autoplay duration to 5 seconds with D. The IDX variable keeps track of the active slide, while timer stores the autoplay interval. In simple terms, IDX tells us which slide is currently active. When we move forward, it increases, and when we move backward, it decreases. Next, let's create the goTo function. This is the main function that handles slide changes. It removes the active class from the current slide and pill, calculates the new index, and activates the new slide and its matching pill. The modulo operator % makes the slider loop infinitely. If we move past the last slide, we go back to the first. If we move before the first, we jump to the last. JavaScript isn't moving the slides directly. It simply changes which slide has the active class. Next, we'll activate the new slide and select its matching pill. We'll pass the 5-second duration to a CSS custom property to keep the JavaScript timer and CSS progress animation in sync. To restart the pill animation, we'll remove its active class, force a browser reflow with offset width, and add the class back. This makes the animation start from the beginning each time. We'll also update the counter using text content and pad start, so it always displays 2 digits like 01, 02, and 03. Now let's create the Start Auto function. It first clears any existing timer so multiple intervals don't run at the same time. Then set interval calls goTo every 5 seconds to automatically move to the next slide. Next, we'll connect the next and previous buttons. Clicking the next button moves to the next slide and restarts autoplay, while the previous button moves to the previous slide and does the same. We'll also add click events to the pills. Each pill has a data.I attribute that stores its slide index, allowing us to jump directly to the selected slide. Finally, we'll add keyboard navigation. Pressing the right arrow moves to the next slide, while the left arrow moves to the previous slide. At the end, we'll call goTo0 to activate the first slide and start auto to begin autoplay. And that's it. Our slider is now fully interactive and ready to go. Now let's make the slider fully responsive. We'll start with the 1024 pixel breakpoint for large tablets and smaller laptops. Here, we'll adjust the navbar spacing, slide content width and position, and the counter to better fit the screen. Next, at 860 pixels, we'll switch to the mobile navigation. The hamburger menu becomes visible, while the navigation links move into a fixed side panel. We'll use Min to control its width, switch the layout to a column, adjust the spacing and padding, and add a blurred background with a smooth slide-in animation. When the open class is added, we'll reset Translate X to bring the menu into view. We'll also adjust the slide content and description, reposition the arrows and dot pills, and hide the counter to keep the layout clean. For screens below 560 pixels, we'll optimize the layout for mobile by reducing the navbar, logo, and logo box sizes. We'll also adjust the slide content position and padding, then reduce the title, slide name, and description sizes for better readability. We'll scale down the buttons, arrows, SVG icons, and dot pills so the controls fit comfortably on smaller screens. We'll also add a landscape breakpoint for short screens. Here, we'll reduce the content size, hide the description to save vertical space, and reposition the controls so everything fits comfortably. Finally, we'll respect prefers reduced motion by minimizing transitions and animations for users who prefer less motion. I've already added the JavaScript for opening and closing the hamburger menu, so the mobile navigation is ready. And that's it. Our slider is now responsive across desktops, tablets, mobile devices, and landscape screens.